Hi, it's Red Snapper. When we recorded this episode about dog DNA, it went a little longer than we expected, so we broke it into 3 parts. Enjoy the first part, all about Buster.
Hello, I'm Mr. Snapper.
And I'm Red Snapper.
And this is
Project
Nutmeg. We're going to talk about DNA testing today. DNA testing provides fantastic insight into potential health problems. We've both had DNA testing as people, and it's been really handy to know what to watch for and to better understand our own genetics.
For sure. We have Wisdom Panel test results for all 3 dogs, and the testing came as part of their Banfield Optimum Wellness Plan, in a way. Buster and Coca have been on the OWP since late 2014. A couple years into that program, they were put on the Whistle beta testing project.
That's right. So the Whistle is an activity monitoring device that is worn on the collar. In the beginning, we had to send in videos to show behavior like eating, drinking, pooping, sleeping. The Whistle would also track their movement. So the goal of the beta program was to better predict a dog's health by studying the nuances of their movement.
After spending so long in that beta project and hitting certain personal milestones, we got free Wisdom Panel tests for Bus and Coca. Bus is a shrimpy guy, so he was pretty easy to push around for his sample. But Coca, of course, was more challenging.
Of course. Bus and Coca's results will look different from Nutmeg's because they were from so long ago, and the results were surprising. So let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Someone will let us.
I'm going to slide this laptop out from under you, baby. First, we will look at Buster. On my little thing here, I've got all 3 dogs. So we'll look at Buster first, and then we'll look at Coca, and then we'll look at Nutmeg. All right. So here we go. Get started. His breed. He is mostly American Staffordshire Terrier.
Yep.
So he's mostly Pibble, 37% Pibble.
No real surprise there because he has the short fur. He's got a very broad chest, and he does that what we call the bowling pin look.
Oh yeah.
Which is a very like Pibble kind of thing to do. When he pulls the ears back and he's just like a bowling pin.
He is, yes. I love that look.
Yeah.
The surprising thing, though, when we got this was, we've mentioned this many times before, the 25% miniature poodle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not expect that.
No. And the Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu is crazy.
That's kind of crazy, but we'll look at pictures of the dog so that you can see where maybe there are some things that match up.
Sure, sure.
And then terrier and guard dog. And, well, the way he was barking at the vacuum, the little robot vacuum this morning, he is definitely a guard dog.
Definitely a guard dog.
All right. Here we go. So, Staffy, you can see with this third picture with the white dog, you can see that tracks for Bus. He's not that tall or that thick, or that he doesn't have the fat head.
His head isn't as big. Yeah, he doesn't have that big heart-shaped.
Not like Doodle head.
Pipple head, yeah.
Yeah, but the ears track, and the chest.
Definitely the chest. He is a very chesty dog.
He is. I have to get him large shirts sometimes because he's very chesty, and then I have to take out the wiener section because he's still a shrimpy guy. He's just got a huge chest.
Yeah.
All right, so they circle on here the appearance bits that may match up pretty well, and yeah, he's got the airplane ears. All right, but he is not 38 to 68 pounds. The heaviest he's ever been was, I think, 35. But they've got qualities on here: hardworking, stoic.
He is a very stoic dog, Bus is. So, thankfully, this doesn't happen very often now, but Coca will sometimes, like, just sort of jump on him. I think she's playing. Like, something gets her excited out in the world, and she's like, come on, let's play, and she'll jump on him. And you would expect a dog to sort of react to being jumped on, but he usually is just like Well, I guess that just happened.
I just got knocked into a tree.
Well, okay then.
All right.
Very stoic.
For sure. And it says here that they enjoy dog sports such as agility, fly ball, rally, and competitive obedience.
Yeah.
He loved doing tricks training.
Absolutely.
And he loved doing fetch.
Well, yeah, when we first got him, like, teaching him how to fetch took nothing at all. And it just became our meal routine. So I would, in the kitchen, and we may have mentioned this in a previous video, but we'd be fixing their dinner, fixing their lunch or their breakfast or whatever, and he'd bring his ball, and you'd have to throw the ball while you were preparing, and he'd just keep bringing it back and throwing it while you're fixing their meal. That was like his routine. That
ball was more appealing to him than treats. He wanted to, that was like the best thing. So when he learned to roll over, his reward for rolling over was a game of fetch.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is so great. He's become more food motivated as he's gotten older.
Yeah.
But as a pup,
yeah, he was just in the toys and playing.
For sure. All right, so then let's scroll down to Mini Poodle. It's funny to look at this and think about Bus.
It's funny because he's definitely not that fuzzy, but he does have kind of a poodly nose.
He does have the poodly nose.
His face is much more like a poodle than like a pibble.
And he's got the poodly eyeliner.
Yeah, he looks a little emo.
He does. And, I mean, he's got a skinny little butt.
That's true. Now, that's true. So he's got the busty, like the big... he's got the big pibble chest, but he's got the skinny poodle butt.
Yes, he's got the skinny poodle butt.
Yeah, for sure.
Poodles, we've talked about how, poodle qualities, because that's part of what drew us to such a Nutmeg. But intelligent, athletic, and playful dogs, yes. And let's not forget that the qualities of Buster, the poodly qualities, were things that sent us in the direction of Nutmeg.
Yeah. I like musical canine freestyle.
Dancing. Musical canine freestyle.
That's what that is dancing. I thought that meant the dog being musical, because he is.
Well, he does. He howls. Oh, I love the howls.
Yeah. He's a very vocal dog.
Yeah, some tend to bark and could be reserved around strangers and may require careful socialization. Oh, she just laid down on the keyboard. What am I going to do about this baby? But she...
Nutmeg is like 50% cat.
Right? She took up barking based on the other two's prompting. They taught her when to bark.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Royal Poodles. Well, ooh la la. Okay, let's get down to Shih Tzu. Let's get down to Shih Tzu and giggles here.
I don't see any Shih Tzu in him. So we had, when we were growing up, we had a Shih Tzu named Watson when I was a kid. And I don't see any, even personality traits, I don't see any real crossover with Bus.
Well, let's see. Happy and outgoing little dogs, it says.
Yeah, but is he really that outgoing?
Well, he loves going out. Now, this one doesn't give us the close-up on the nose. I mean, maybe some of the nose. I don't know about the tail. If they keep their tail curled up, maybe. I don't know, but she keeps her tail curled up.
Yeah.
Alert, active, playful, and usually friendly. Can participate in dog sports such as agility and rally or competitive obedience. Knowing now what I do, we may have pursued more of that with him in his younger days if we were not in our starving artist and getting out of the, starting to eat artist years.
Yeah.
We could have done well with that. They're moderately active when indoors since they do well in small apartments. We would play fetch on the stairs in the apartment when we had an apartment. And... stubborn tendencies may be lessened by using reward-based training involving small treats and favorite toys.
Yeah, I don't think he's really stubborn, though.
Well, it was hard to get him to lay down so that we could start recording.
That's true, but that's more of like a terrier obsessiveness, which I think is this next thing.
Yeah, most likely related to, and it talks
Terrier.
about going back 3 generations. So his great-grandparents are probably terriers, including the Russell Terrier, which is what we thought he was.
That's what we thought. We thought that it was
purebred.
And we had met someone who had a Staffy Jack Russell mix, and who looked like Bus. So, but that's the problem with like trying to determine breed by looks.
By looks,
is that you can't.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah.
So I could see a Chihuahua.
I could see a little bit of Chihuahua in there.
In his, but this, you know, great-grandparents. How much do we look like our great-grandparents? I mean,
that's a good question.
I don't know. I don't know.
Buster has that Chihuahua swagger. So
oh, he is cocksure and arrogant.
He is very.
He would have done very well if we had him when we were in college, because we were cocksure and arrogant.
That's what
we were deemed cocksure and arrogant.
That's what the head of the theater department said.
Yeah, cocksure. I wanted to be cocksure.
Yeah.
But thought about getting it on a hat and everything. All right, so guard dogs, we can see, obviously. Think about Bus being part Great Dane. How hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, his family tree, we saw this earlier.
But here they're breaking it down as to what the parents were. So, or what they, I guess what they think the parents could have been, and grandparents and all that. Because it's interesting, there's a miniature poodle on both sides of the parents.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
So, well, he could be inbred.
That's possible.
I mean.
Sorry, buddy, but.
He's okay. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
He could be inbred. We don't know.
We don't know.
And with his, we don't get to see relatives. Of course, he's 13, so any parents, grandparents, siblings may not have been tested, and there may not be an opportunity to test them now.
Oh, of course.
All right, so his certificate of authenticity, we did this testing on March 29th of 2019, or at least that's when they did this. That's what everything looked like then.
And about his name, because I keep seeing the Buster Keaton, and his name is Buster. I saw his picture the first time, I was like, that dog's name is Buster. And then we realized that like about 10% of all dogs are named Buster. And taking him into a vet or something like that, the odds are there'd be another Buster. So we added the Keaton to it, so that it would, you would know which Buster is which. The funny thing is, though, he actually does look a lot like Buster Keaton when you put the hat on him.
Oh, for sure. We've got pictures from his first birthday, I think, where he had a tea party. And Mr. Snapper made him a special pork pie hat.
I made him his own Buster Keaton hat. And he looks a lot like Buster Keaton.
He does. It's wonderful.
Pretty wild.
All right, looking at his health and looking at Nutmeg here, this is, you should get a shot of Nutmeg because it's important to see how interested she is in this whole process. It's really quite wonderful.
There we go.
All right. Looking at his health, they tested for more than 150 disease-causing mutations. He was clear on 152 of them, yay, which included the disorder where we were concerned about the narrowing of the spine.
Right.
That came up when he had the noodly legs, which we've talked about in a previous episode. All right, looking at his traits, I think it's really cute the way they break this down so that we can click on that part of the body to see a little bit more. So I'll just click on his nose.
Base pigment color carries the gene for the expression of black pigment. This means that even though their overall coat color may not be black, they are still able to make black pigment. They will also likely have black around their eyes, which he does, a black nose. I think it's more gray.
He's got like a brown nose with freckles.
Browny gray, brown gray, gray brown. What do you call that?
Greige. I don't know.
Isn't that a character in Jedi
Grease,
Survivor?
yeah, Grease.
They will also likely have black around their eyes, nose, and they may even have black pads on their feet.
He does have black pads.
He does. He has black pads.
All right, looking at his ears.
A lot of factors can decide the shape of a dog's ear, but as far as we can tell, Buster Keaton probably has perk or upright ears. So
not entirely true. I mean, he can get them to stand up.
he can.
But we've noticed, like, Doodle had ears that stood straight up when we brought her home. She looked like a baby Yoda right there.
Yeah, she did.
She was so Grogu. And she kind of developed we call them airplane ears, where they're folded back. And Buster was introduced into our household when he was a puppy, and Doodle was the big dog. And Doodle's ears were often up, but she would fold them back.
Well, it started with the Dalmatians. So Holly, Dalmatians have floppy ears, but she would pull her ears back. And it wasn't like, sometimes when dogs pull their ears back, it's because they're nervous or anxious or something. No, it's just like how she carried them.
It was like how they wear their hair.
And then we brought Piper home. Piper, of course, had the same flat, hanging ear. And then after a while, started to pull them back like Holly.
Yeah.
And then Doodle did the same thing.
And then Buster, so and then
now
Coca.
Coca sometimes will do the same thing. It's like, are the dogs learning how to carry their ears from each other?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nutmeg's got long hair, so we can't tell on her.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at his yapper. He does not have furnishings. So he doesn't have any...
Doesn't have a mustache.
He doesn't have a mustache.
Doesn't have a beard.
Nutmeg has a mustache and beard. They're a little coppery.
He does not have eyebrows either. Although we did draw eyebrows on him once.
And it was hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
Okay, main coat is yellow or tan.
True.
They can show colors from white all the way to deep red. So I would describe him as coffee stain or coffee creamer. And he could have white spots or some white in his coat. He does have white. There's a spot on his neck, kind of like Coca's white spot. There's a spot that looks like somebody dumped milk on his neck. And it wasn't me. Coat length. It's on the short side.
Yep,
it is.
Definitely.
It's absolutely short. And then back here we've got leg length. So short limbs.
I don't know. If you look at the pictures of him as a puppy, like the one picture where he was in when we first got him home,
he was entering the puppy uglies.
Because it was when we first brought him home. I took him out to Petco to get his badge. That was like the first week or so we had him. And if you look at that, his legs do look short, but I mean he was still kind of a puppy, so I don't know.
Yeah, he was entering his puppy uglies where things grow at different rates. They grow weirdly. I mean, you could say that he's a short guy if you look at the size of his chest, but I think his legs are the right length based on his butt.
Yeah, his legs definitely grew. When he was a puppy, I think the person we kind of rescued him from said that she thought he was part wiener dog.
Yeah.
Because his legs were kind of short.
Yeah.
But
they're not that short.
They're not that short.
Okay, ideal weight. 16 to 29 pounds.
Yeah.
I think his ideal is around 29 or 30. I mean, he's been as heavy as 35. And he looks very skinny when he's like 25, 26 pounds because he's gotten down that far. He looks very skinny then. So I think 29 is probably about right. And then they've got this way to see if is he too thick? And that's all we've got about Buster.
That is Buster.